So we're going to get this panel started with Professor Jocelyne Cesari, who is the Chair of Religion and Politics at the University of Birmingham.
Good afternoon. My presentation will deal with a perspective on political Islam, distinguishing it from Islamism. To start, we have now, as it said in the title of this panel, more than 40 years of discussion on political Islam. The narrative, the main narrative, starts with Islamically based political movement or parties attacking or resisting a secular state. Since 2000, especially after the Arab Spring, there has been more murky lines, since a lot of these Islamic parties or movements went into the state without destroying it, actually. So what are we looking at? And then the second murky line is the fact that these movements are not only national, but have become global and transnational. What they were in the beginning, historically, if we look back at pan-Islamism. So if I very bluntly summarize where we stand, the question is always about Islam. Is it compatible with democracy? And you have two sides. The one who use what I call the independent variable approach, looking at Islam in its texts, in its creeds, in the way that people carry Islam in their daily life, and how this influences their involvement with democracy or not. And the other one that I think is more dominant in my discipline of political science, which is to look at Islam as a proxy, not really influencing anything. It's more the social movement approach, like Islam is framing grievances, but Islam is really not such an important topic. And you may recall the debate around ISIS when ISIS peaked, I think it was 2014, and the big debate in the American academia with the media was, is ISIS Islamic? Right? And so you had exactly these two sides. No, it's really Islamic, it has to do with the Islamic tradition. And the other side, no, it has nothing to do with Islam. So my goal in the work I have done in the last decade has been to step away from that. And for that I try to distinguish political Islam as a broader phenomenon than Islamism. So let's start with a riddle. So this is a quotation. When the forces of infidelity attack the Iraqis, they will fight as they wished them to fight, and perhaps in a better way, and then their promises of faith and jihad, etc. And the jihad and struggle is to target the assembly of evil, treason, and corruption everywhere. So the question where would you put this quotation? And the one we've seen the PowerPoint, don't unveil the rest. But where does it stand? Is it the secular? Is it the political Islam? I mean, obviously, we would think this comes from some kind of Islamist in Iraq, right?
It was Saddam.
Yes, it's Saddam. Yes, that's Saddam. And this is political Islam. So the pushback I always hear, but this is instrumentalization. But you don't instrumentalize anything. You instrumentalize something that makes sense for your community and your political community. And it doesn't matter if Saddam or Bourguiba before don't believe in Islam. That's not the problem. It's like the people saying, why do evangelicals vote for Trump while he's obviously not a poster child for piety? That's the kind of dead end where we cannot look not only at political Islam, but politicization of religion in different contexts. So what does it mean? So I will look at political Islam, not as synonymous for Islamism that I will reserve for Islamic movement or party, but I will look at it as a foundational political culture. And this foundational political culture was built with the nation state. And here it's important that the state is not only state policies, that's the kind of pushback I had with my first work, what is political Islam. It's not state manipulating, it's building first and foremost a national community that is not a given. And so what does this mean exactly? It means that we have to step away from religion only as belief associated with a person. And here I am attacking a big ghost of our scholarship on religion that is associated with Western secularization, and we take a sampling of people that we interview with the assumption that what they say on their personal behaviors or attitude will tell us something about more systemic trends. It's important to do that, but it's not enough. That's what I'm going to try to argue with you, because people who are not, that's also the kind of riddle we find, that people who are the more religious, actually, personally, are not automatically the one interested in religiously based political movement. So how do you explain that? What does this mean? It means because you have the level, personal level of investment in the religion, and you have the investment at the communal level. First and foremost, religion is not a personal affair, especially when we talk about monotheism. Religion creates a community. And anthropologists, historians, specialists of religion will tell you that before the modern politic, the communities that give sense to everybody when people say we is religion, including Christianity. This is going back to the basic, that I don't want to overwhelm you with that, but it means that religion is police, not the police law enforcement, the police as community in the Aristotelian sense. Aristotle said man is so unpolitical, it's a political beast. Why? Because it's the only community that is based on the sense of right and wrong. What is not only nice or efficient to do, but what is just and unjust. All other animal communities are not based on this sense. And the first community, Durkheim, founder of sociology, interestingly, all sociologists today never look at this part of Durkheim. Yeah, I know he's a white man, positivist, but he said something on religion that echoes with all anthropological element, which is the first institution giving social cohesion to a group is religion. And anthropologists will tell you what is monotheism. It's a revelation-based community. It doesn't come for you, me, here. It comes to create a group. There is one God, one message, one people. And we have forgotten that because of our academic history, but also because of the evolution of religion in modern time. And Christianity, unlike what people think, had as much problem with the building of the nation state than Islam today or Judaism. Look at what's happening in Judaism in the nation state of Israel. Okay? So that's every religion, and I can say it pretty confidently. I look at Hinduism, I look at Buddhism, I look at orthodoxy. You see the same tension emerging because the religious community is displaced by the national community. And national community is based on two features that do not exist together in any other community: equality of membership. Of course, you can be equal vis-à-vis God, but I do not know any religious community that is not hierarchical and distinguished by gender, by age, by knowledge, every religious community, including Christianity. So what was interesting to me is to see how the reference of Islam as a community-giving sense locally was displaced by the building of the nation as this homogeneous group where we are all taking a charge for our destiny independently of God. And that's not because we are imagined. Here we like very much Benedict Anderson. We are all imagined community. We are one right there. A nation is about a group of people saying we want to decide our fate on our own. And that's why it's so powerful everywhere. That's why this is the only way you can exist internationally today. Try to be a city or an empire, it doesn't work. Even ISIS, it didn't work. So once you said that, you see that the nation state built by the so-called secular rulers use Islam to build this nation community. I will finish right there. So it meant that to mobilize people, there is no nation. Turkey was created overnight, Pakistan overnight. Actually, in the history of nation building in Muslim land, the secular state comes before the nation. So it meant that a certain number of terms that used to be invested with a traditional meaning or pre-modern meaning are still present, but they have changed meaning, and these meanings have been taught, transmitted, socialized citizen with this meaning. Ummah is a community of Muslim believers. That's a pan-Islamist modern definition of Ummah. Pre-nation, I finish soon, don't worry. Pre-nation, I am a Greek Orthodox, I am a member of the Ummah in the Caliph. That is not the definition of ISIS, because ISIS operate on this notion that the Muslim community takes its own fate in hand, which is a Rashid Rida Afghani approach, fighting against the model of the nation based on ethnicity. Sharia becomes state law. Sharia was never state law. Sharia was the monopoly of the ulema regulating local communities. Maslaha, maslaha, everybody say it's public interest. Yes, today, because the state has taken endorsed, maslaha means the common good of the community. And this community in pre-modern or pre-national communities is plural. There are Muslim and non-Muslim in the maslaha of the community. All this is gone. So the nation state will build a new political culture in which being a citizen and being a Muslim is connected together in a way that didn't exist in the pre-national Muslim empire. And the state is a defender, guardian of this connection. So Islamism as political movement never challenged that because it's a given. Look at Turkey. Turkey is still a secular state, but Atatürk did the job. I'm going to finish on that. What did I do? Atatürk did the job. He nationalized the Sunni institution, created the Diyanat. This was not an Ottoman legacy. At the same time, he pushed away Islam from the public space. But this idea, I am Turkish and I am a Sunni Muslim, that's why Alevi Kurds do not have a legal status, not because of Islam, because of Kemal Atatürk. Same thing, we can do this all over the Muslim world. I have done it. The only country that didn't create its hegemonic Islam are Indonesia, Senegal, and Lebanon. And I would say Tunisia was on the way out of that until the coup, which was very fascinating to me in the sense of repositioning the state vis-à-vis the diversity. Even if 99% of people are Muslim in Tunisia, it doesn't matter. There was this intention that I didn't see in any other country of the Arab Spring to reposition the state, to not make it the only actor in defining what is right and wrong in Islam. So, sorry, I've gone. So what does it mean concretely? Because you can say, oh, this is ivory tower kind of thing, but the reality is I have patterns and they work. You can take me at face value, but we can discuss, it's written. You have to, you cannot discuss political Islam if you don't locate it in the political culture of the countries in which it's operating. So it's not that Islam is incompatible with democracy. It is what is the political culture that allow a religiously based political movement to evolve toward democracy. It's a different question. We need to stay away from politics being only the monopoly of the state. And that's why also the evolution of Hanouchi is fascinating. He talks about civility. That is eminently political. It doesn't mean you need an Islamic party to be at the head of the state. It's returning towards the community. Police. And that's why the question of dignity, social justice is important. Islamic parties lose credibility when they enter the partisan game and the state game. They regain credibility when they talk for the maslahah of the people. And in this sense, it's never dead. It's not going to be dying for a long time. And the Arab Barometer was fascinated by the results. That's exactly what people are saying. We want social justice, we want equality. And the one that have provided this narrative are not the secular ruler, this has been the Islamist actor. And in this sense, if they stay away from the state, there's still lots of hope there. And I stop here, because I can go on and on.